Well, after months of preparations, campaigning and even legal challenges, South Africa's 7th democratic elections will finally take place today. They are, of course, over 27 million registered voters, and the Electoral Commission of South Africa has cleared more than 70 political parties and 11 candidates that's independent candidates to contest the polls. The voting is expected to commence. Again, we keep repeating this at 7 a.m. across the country, with polling stations set to close at 9 p.m. And this year's general elections has been described as a watershed moment for South Africans, many of whom have lamented the country's problems, such as crime and unemployment. Well, Newzroom Afrika has deployed a team of reporters to bring you wall-to-wall coverage on all the latest developments. We check in with Karinda Jagmahan now. He is in Johannesburg, and then we'll speak to Nasipi Sipa as well as Junior. But Karinda, let's start with you. Where are you? What preparations are you seeing taking place?
Certainly, good morning to you, Naledi. I'm in Joburg Park. This is where one of the biggest voting stations in the country is in terms of the number of registered voters, the largest number of registered voters here. In the last election, more than 15,000 registered voters. And the reason why is because, of course, it is in the heart of the Johannesburg CBD, where we see a high number in terms of the population. But just now you said ballot boxes are on the move, and certainly it is. In fact, my colleague Kevin Marabella will just show you behind me as you see some law enforcement authorities right now accompanying some of the ballot boxes as this voting station is being prepared. IEC officials were here at about 5 o'clock this morning and are currently now taking the ballot boxes into this tent, one of the biggest voting stations in the country, and now are starting to prepare with the presence of law enforcement authorities. So the representatives you see by this tent are all IEC officials preparing to start for this day. This voting station indeed opening at 7 a.m. and we do expect to see a line start to form soon, just as the day breaks, and of course it gets a bit more warmer with voters coming in. So at 7 o'clock I'll give you another update, maybe speak to those who wanted to come first in line to this specific voting station and what their needs are, considering some of the issues here in Ward 59 in the heart of Johannesburg. Naledi.
Well, thank you for that. Karinda Jagmahan speaking to us there. Let's check in with more of our reporters. We'll take you live now to Sipa Kema. Sipa, a good morning to you. Which part of the country are you in? And what are you seeing around you?
Well, Naledi, I am in Westville Informal Settlement in Gqeberha. This is Ward 36 under the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro Municipality. Now, the reason why I'm here, Naledi, was that yesterday there were disruptions of the special votes, day 2 of special votes. We had a community coming from Westville Informal Settlements, of course, protesting, saying that they don't want any voting processes to take place in their community. Now, the voting station is just further behind me, just in the middle of the informal settlement. But the community took to the street yesterday. Let me just show you some of the debris that's left over from the tires that were burnt. As you can see, the evidence left from yesterday's protest action, Naledi, where this community were protesting over issues of service delivery, stating that they do not want to vote, and therefore they were not allowing the IEC officials to even enter the street that they're supposed to go into and open the voting station. But police were soon enough deployed on the scene, and order was restored, and that's when voting commenced. So as you can see, police have also been deployed here today just to observe and monitor the situation, just in case another protest action takes place. Now, the issues here, Naledi, from this informal settlement was that they've been here for just over 20 years. And they're saying that they want houses, and not just houses, but there's issues of, a high rate of unemployment amongst the youth as well, and high levels of crime within this informal settlement. So those are the issues, but major issue is the housing issue, saying that they've been waiting for years for houses. And they've been warning the government, of course, over the course of the year. There have been protest actions before this one, violent protest actions. I mean, just yesterday, they actually set alight a bus. One of the Algoa buses was set alight yesterday, and it just burnt down to the ground. So those are the issues that the community is facing, but also the protest actions. Now, since the police are also here, it has been quiet since then, but of course, we'll continue to monitor the situation just to make sure that everything goes smoothly. And then we'll also bring you closer to the voting station just to show you the voter turnout then from Westville.
Well, I'm sure that we'll be seeing quite a police present in Westville there. Sipa Kema, our reporter, speaking to us from Gqeberha. And we head now to the Western Cape and Sea Point. Slight activity outside one voting station is already underway, with early risers eagerly queuing up outside voting stations, ready to exercise their democratic right. Newzroom Afrika's reporter Nasipi Same joins us live for more. An early start for voters in the Western Cape, Nasipi.
Indeed, Naledi, we are in Sea Point. As you know, Sea Point not only falls under the City of Cape Town municipality, however, is also one of the older suburbs in the metro. And as you mentioned, we do have, some early risers who were already stationed outside the particular voting station where we are at in Sea Point, saying that they wanted to be first in line. Unfortunately for us, they would like to actually speak to us. Jean-Ray, you were, I think, number 2, if I'm correct. But talk to us about what motivated you to actually wake up so early, taking into account that the voting stations only open at 7.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's more of a practical arrangement. We weren't sure how long the rows were going to be, so we just thought rather be early, skip the queues possibly. No, you're going to wait hour and a half versus potentially longer, potentially shorter. Just didn't want to take the chance.
And you guys were obviously here before 6 o'clock. Talk to us about the logistics that went into it. We saw that you guys were sitting on camp chairs.
Yeah, so luckily for us, we live just around the corner. Sea Point has got a lot of voting stations. I think you mentioned 3. So we just put our shoes on, walked here. Luckily, brought some camping chairs with us, just so we can sit if we're going to sit long. But it wasn't too difficult for us to get here.
And number 2 in the line is Delano. Many people are saying that they are voting for change come these elections, 30 years into democracy. What are you hoping your vote will contribute?
I think the main reason we're voting, or specifically myself, is for responsible government spending. I think it's something we've not seen in the last couple of years, and I think the allocation of government resources is really, really critical, especially in these coming years. I think the poverty is increasing, the amount of people without work is also increasing, and I think government has the ability to assist us with that, but they're definitely going to have to do better. And I think with our vote, we might be able to assist those in need.
And Delano, we were just talking now. Many people are also quite undecided. As much as this particular day many had been hoping for and anticipating, what process did you go through in making that decision as to who to vote for?
I think firstly news sources, and especially Twitter as well, or X, or whatever they call it now. It's really important to read through a couple of news articles and actually speak to a lot of people. You get a lot of opinions and new things you might have never heard before, and then look around in what voting area you were working, where you're staying, how does it look, does things function around you? If it doesn't function, then someone is probably responsible for it not functioning. So then make a choice after that and see, well, it is working, I'll vote again for the same party, or it's not working, maybe I have to change it up.
Delano, Jean-Ray, I'll come back to you. But as much as, we have about 3.3 million voters, if not more, in the Western Cape that are registered to vote, some are still undecided. As we just heard now, that, some people don't know who to vote for. How would you encourage someone that is still sitting on the fence whether or not to exercise the democratic right to vote today?
Yeah, it's always difficult when there's so many people in a country and you're just one person. But I think it's probably just adopting an outward mindset. If we told ourselves if you don't vote, you can't complain. If you don't vote, you can't speak along with us. So maybe it's a societal thing to say that if you want to, if you want to claim something or complain about something, you have to at least do something that you know you can do. Like, there's not so much else you can do, but at the very least you can come and vote.
We'll have to leave it there. Genre there and Delano, number 1 and 2 at this voting station. We do understand that over 3.3 million registered voters in the Western Cape. We can expect about 1,572 voting stations in the Western Cape to officially open their doors in less than an hour to accommodate and welcome those eager voters. And we do understand that from 7 o'clock up until 9 o'clock, the citizens have the opportunity to make their way to various polling stations. Even those that are still undecided still have a couple of hours to go before voting stations close.
Yeah, well, those voters certainly are eager. You really have chosen the right word there. Our reporter, Nasipi Same, bring us the latest from the Western Cape. Well, our reporter, Junior Kumalo, who is part of our team covering these polls, is at the IEC's Results Operations Centre and joins us now from there. A lot of activity is going to be taking place there, Junior. Talk to us about really where you'll be set throughout the next few days and certainly what your focal point will be.
Indeed, Naledi, a lot of activity is set to take place here at the National Results Center of the IEC. This is where most of the results are going to start coming in. Behind me, I'll just move out of shot and just show you the screen where the political parties are going to be seeing those results being tallied as they come in. But for now, there's not much activities. They are going to start coming in as soon as they've started casting their votes. We know that some of those party agents have been coming into the results center from Monday when the special votes have been cast. But right now, an hour before the election stations, the polling stations, over 22,000 of them across South Africa, open, is a very crucial hour. The IEC has confirmed this, that it is a very crucial hour because this is when all of those staff, there are about 200,000 staff that have been hired by the IEC, are going to start making their way to those polling stations, getting ready. There are about 70 million ballots that have been printed. They are going to be transported from the warehouses, the IEC warehouses, to those voting stations. We know that on the first day of the special votes, which was on Monday, this is where some of those trucks were actually prevented by individuals who were protesting, especially in Umtata, from reaching those voting stations, meaning that a lot of South Africans could not cast their votes. So this is when all of those SANDF officials that have been deployed by the president, as well as the South African police, will be accompanying those ballot papers to those polling stations and ensuring that they are ready for the South Africans who are going to start pouring in at 7 o'clock and come and basically come and cast their votes. So we expect that to start happening. We expect those polls to open at 7 o'clock. But we are going to be moving from the Results Operations Center here in Midrand and going to Soweto, where the president is going to be casting his vote. He's going to be casting his vote in Shawela at the Hitekani Primary School. We expect the president to be there at actually around 10 o'clock to cast his votes. But all of the political leaders are going to be casting their votes in different areas. We know that the DA leader, John Steenhuisen, is going to be casting his vote in KwaZulu-Natal. The EFF leader is going to be casting his vote in Polokwane, in Limpopo as well. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba is going to be casting his vote in Sandton. There's going to be a lot of activity actually in Gauteng because even former leaders such as Thabo Mbeki is going to be casting his vote in Kilani, in Sandton. We know that the deputy president of the country, Paul Mashatile, is also going to be casting his vote here in Gauteng. So there's going to be a lot of activity, and we'll be bringing that live to you on Newzroom Afrika, Naledi.
Yeah, and you're right. It's going to be quite a busy day, certainly, as we see some of those leaders casting their votes. Junior Kumalo keeping a close eye on all of that and more for us. And as you see there, he is at the Results Operations Center. That, what you're seeing behind him, and certainly where Aldrin is as well, is right now the calm before the storm. The numbers of people will be buzzing in that room, certainly post today, as political parties watch for the results that will be coming in on that screen. My co-anchor, Aldrin Sampier, as well, keeping a close eye on that.